should bring it up with MDR and say whatever.
Yeah, I just want to ask, how many people here get the questionnaire from the federal government about how many hives you have, how much honey of what color you have produced? Nope. So Glenn gets one, and Rich, Noah. No. Yeah. I'm surprised nobody else gets this.
Nope.
Well, isn't that because you filed taxes?
This is exactly what, I mean, they're asking the questions that we're talking about, and I'm giving them all the information that you just said. You know, you may feel one way or another about it, but they want to know exactly how many hives I've had where and how many have lived. Now they're doing it 4 times a year.
Who's asking you exactly?
The federal government, the Department of Agriculture. And if I don't answer that questionnaire, I get called. And I get called.
Yeah, they do.
I get called by three different people this last time because I was busy trying to publish a book. And I said, I'll get it to you. They want to interview me over the telephone if I don't have time to write it down.
The calls are long because the person who's calling doesn't know anything about bees.
Right. It's astounding. I mean, I'm amazed. I'm providing much more information to the federal government. If everybody were doing this, you wouldn't even have to go through all this conversation because they've got it all. And they know, in fact, how many colonies Glenn has had here for how long. If he's a big keeper, I mean, I have to say no, I don't move them around, but I have them in so many towns. It's astounding. I'm surprised that none of you have gotten on their list.
How did they get your information?
I have no idea.
No idea. Are you filing taxes as a business?
Pardon? How long? I've been doing it for 30 years.
How long have you been calling? How many years?
Probably the last 5-10 years I've been filling these out. Yeah, yes.
So I just want to make sure I capture it, and I just want to move here. So you definitely don't want MDR to call you about it.
No.
I'm just going to move.
I just figured, well,
it's okay, just don't call it too many times. Don't call it.
No, it's simply because I took too long to fill out the form. But I figured this is the way that the federal government is figuring out how healthy the bee populations are. By interviewing people
Just
who are
pretending
keeping
not
them.
Penn State, this is the federal government.
Yeah, that's the
It's the
federal
federal
government.
government.
Okay.
So you're providing sort of the same hive registration,
Yes,
location as the
yes.
apiary.
How much money I make on what color honey. Yes.
Just quickly, how many people get the Northeast disease report and how your bees did every year in this room? I do. In Delaware, whoever puts it out, I don't remember anymore. So there's only one of us in this room that fills that out every year. And that's one of mine one year. I got blasted with pesticides, and that was a big year for kills in the area. And they have the number. It's a great group. It's a long form. At least you don't get called. And I think it's important at this date, at this time of the year, what happened to my bees. So there's some more good information. It's very accurate. I think it's Delaware that puts that out. Delaware, I'm trying to figure out the name of it. You could probably see disease. And they study this. There's a bunch of P.h.Ds down there, maybe with Dewey Karen's group. It's a great thing.
Partnerships, or we're talking about the BIP group.
Be informed, I mean, out of Penn State people?
I'm pretty sure this is out of the Delaware area, but it's one of those groups.
Send it to Kim so she can pass it around.
Yeah, I'll have to dig it out. I just came in my mail. I might be able to find it on this. I haven't done it yet. But I haven't done the survey yet. But they won't call you again either. That's the good news. I guess once you drop out, you drop out. But I think there's some good information. If I spend the time to do it accurately, there's a big gain.
So let's go Glenn and then we'll do
I was just going to say, I think everyone in this room is not really the people that we're going to be most concerned about. It's the people that are possibly just starting out, have done it 1 or 2 years, and then are losing interest, and basically let their bees just go away, leave them in the back of the field, and God knows what happens to them. And next thing you know, they start developing these diseases and infecting the people around them, and they never were registered. Not that I'm for that everybody should register, but I think that's where we need to focus on being the problem. Because, going back to everybody's going to say, well, you're a commercial guy. Obviously, you're against the little guys. I don't have a problem with everybody having 1 or 2 hives. It's great. I sell a lot of bees that way. But I do think that's a concern for us is the small people or the people that run 50 hives and then just give it up and leave their equipment out. And other people start robbing their equipment out. Or my bees come in and they rob all their stuff out. Next thing you know, I've got AFB in my stuff. And then it goes on from there. So I'd just like to put in that. And then to touch on your point, your guys should be covered under the general nuisance area under maintenance, or maintaining apiaries. That should be covered in there. If you can get them declared as a nuisance, you could shut them down.
I just want to sum up about registration. It doesn't sound like anybody in this room is in favor of mandatory registration. Somehow, I don't know if that's a true statement or not. I haven't heard anybody say.
I'd be in favor of incentivizing registration, so it's not mandatory, but making it a positive thing, making it something people want to do.
I think somehow or other, even if it's not mandatory, we need our inspectors to know where hives are being kept. I'm not sure how we accomplish that, other than through the clubs or by word of mouth or whatever. So that's something we should probably, bring out into the open and discuss a little bit more. But in terms of the registration, I think I can see it both sides. I personally wouldn't have any problem being forced to register my hives, but I can see where that's an issue for some folks, and it would probably bring out a negative tone in the regulations if we started trying to force that on folks. But this idea of knowing where people are, that is really critical to all of us.
Sure. I agree with her point in regards to the fact that knowing where people are is definitely beneficial. Realistically, like Anita pointed out, she has a waiting list for inspections. So we have a limited number of inspectors in the state of Massachusetts. We have no representation for inspectors in Western Mass at the moment, although you guys will come out to Western Mass if we ask for you to come out. But what that reflects is the fact that we don't have a large pool of inspectors to work off of. So that being the case, the demand is higher than what is available to fill. Doing any kind of a mandate in regards to inspections is not even something that can be completed. But what we realistically need to do is encourage people to utilize those resources. So you kind of want to go from the positive standpoint, not make it a requirement to register, but provide the benefits that are associated with getting your hives inspected. And also, I think Dick was kind of commenting on in regards to disease, that we list every single disease in the book and saying if you have anything, then contact the inspector. And I don't think that's necessarily prudent, because most beekeepers that are experienced will be able to identify certain things going on in their hive and be able to deal with that. But they should be contacting the inspectors when they find something that they don't know how to treat or they don't know what it is. And that might be a better way to adjust that, or just focus on the specifics that you're really trying to get inspections off of.
Just to answer that a little bit, what the point I was trying to make was, if in fact the law says, if that my implication of all means that by law every hive is supposed to be inspected, which I think is untenable really, but it's not going to happen. But I think it does say something as far as regs go. That one, I think we probably need more inspectors, not fewer. And try to have every part of the state inspected. I know that when people from like Worcester County, Ken, for instance, our guy, we see him as our guy in Worcester County, goes out to the western part of the state and he's running down the Cape and doing all these things. We don't get inspected, all right? The vast majority of people in Worcester want to be inspected and welcome the inspection. And the reason for that is just what Ken brought up, and that is that unlike what the Court Real really wanted, which was Gestapo type something, you walk in with boots, you tear the hives apart, you report disease, and you walk out. You don't talk to the beekeeper, you don't tell them anything that's going on, and that's not good police work even. All right, good neighborhood police work is working with the people that you're working with. You've established relationships. And that's absolutely key in inspection, because if I have AFB, the first thing Ken or anybody that's inspecting me wants to know is who has bees around me. Well, who's likely to know my neighbors better than me? All right, I'm likely to be the first source to find out. If I don't want to cooperate with the inspector, what's he do? I mean, well, she do. They walk, back to where Anita was. So the reason Anita was having the problems was she didn't have, no fault of hers, she was brand new at it, but she didn't have the relationship that Ken built up over 20 years. All right, we had, in Worcester County, we have almost, rare, up until 2 years ago when inspections were stopped, rare to have AFB. And the only time we get it typically is when some nukes come in and you got kind of a spot that starts it, and it's found and fixed. So bee inspection has, I believe, for the hobbyists, every hobbyist should see a bee inspector. I think inspecting every migratory beehive in the state is ridiculous. It's not going to happen. And I actually think that some of the regs ought to even be a little different at the way they're enforced on the migratory guys. But that's
One quick question.